It's sweet potato day. Sweet potatoes are meant to be enjoyed a lot more than just on Thanksgiving, and I have 3 incredible recipes for you to try. I'm starting traditional, and it's gonna get crazier and crazier as we go along, but in a good way. I'm starting with just a good old sweet potato casserole. This is sweet potato souffle, and it is one of our top rated sweet potato recipes on Allrecipes, so it's been tried and true, in case you're wondering. I have baked off some sweet potatoes. To me, it's the easiest way to cook them, and it brings out their natural sweetness the best. You don't have to babysit it or anything. You don't have to peel them. This is just slap it on a tray and call it a day. All right, the recipe calls for 3 cups of cooked and mashed sweet potatoes. So they're cooked and now they're really soft to do this while they're hot. This sweet potato casserole is not going to be topped with marshmallows. I think the best part about this recipe is going to be the topping, and that's what makes this one different and special. So if you are looking for that perfect sweet potato casserole recipe and you want to be like the hit of the table, this will be the one to do. All right, so now I'm just going to mash them. So I like them pretty mashed. I don't mind little, chunks in there. Keeps it a little rustic. While it is hot is the time to add in the butter. So it's a 1/3 cup of butter. Okay, I'm gonna let the heat from the sweet potatoes melt that, and I'm gonna add in some sugar. Now this is where you can adjust to your sweetness also. I think the Southern way always tends to lean a little bit sweeter. It's also gonna have a sweet topping, so I'm gonna cut that back just a little bit. Okay, and with a little vanilla. And because I'm notorious for, putting my own little twist onto things, I'm also adding in a little salt. To me, the salt balances some of that sweetness, and it just makes things taste better. Now I'm going in with my 1/2 cup of milk, my eggs. You don't want to add these in if it's too hot, so that's why I added everything first, so it would kind of cool the sweet potatoes down. Okay, so I just mix this up and then I just pour it straight into the casserole dish. All right, and like I said, what makes this sweet potato casserole different and special is the topping. Sort of like a streusel-y, crumbly topping. That's what I'm talking about. Starting with a cup of brown sugar, and then a cup of chopped nuts. I'm going pecans. Don't want it to be overwhelming, just a little bite of crunch. What I think is the surprise, maybe you've done this before, but I never have, some shredded sweetened coconut. I'm not even like a coconut lover, but I think here, once it's all like toasted up, it's gonna kind of, just lend the perfect bite. And then I need a 1/3 cup of flour. Flour is gonna keep everything separated and make it kind of streusely. Shocker, I'm also just going to add in just a little bit of salt. All right, and then melted butter. Come on, you know that looks good. We're gonna just dampen all these ingredients and make it really crumbly. And the ratio of topping to casserole is on point. This is much better than marshmallows. I'm telling you, this is gonna be so good. This now just bakes at 350 until the souffle is set. It's gonna take about 30 to 40 minutes. This might be the best sweet potato casserole I've ever made, and I haven't even tasted it yet. The smells going on in here right now are just like heaven. Now, I do know that this is going to need to sit before we dig in. I think it needs to set up just a little bit, but you can tell, you saw how thin the sweet potatoes were when I put them in here, and I just said cook it till the souffle is set. That's what you want. There's like a slight jiggle, but it's really set. Oh my gosh, do you see that? How perfect that is? Just like syrupy goodness dripping down. The ratio of sweet potato to topping is unmatched. That butter is hitting just right. I do recommend the little sprinkle of salt in there because it is making that sweet pop. But those sweet potatoes just taste so fresh. The chew from the coconut probably makes the whole thing. Every texture is going on. You've got the creamy, the little crunchy nut topping, but then you get that chewiness. I'm telling you, you're gonna wanna make this one. I'm gonna get started on recipe number 2. This is gonna be our savory application to sweet potatoes, loaded twice-baked sweet potatoes. A little sprinkle of salt, and then pierce it with a knife. And then these just go into the oven until they are nice and tender. And I'm also going to be getting my bacon cooking. I'm just going to chop up some bacon and then just get this really crispy. I always start my bacon in a cold pan because as the pan heats up, the bacon heats up, the fat renders out. It's just better that way. Spicy, twice-baked sweet potatoes coming up. The first bake is done. They're nice and tender on the inside. That's what you want. And then I'm just getting everything else ready. So this is going to have a little bit of smoky Mexican kind of flair to it. So I'm gonna add in some pepper jack cheese. I love like black beans and sweet potatoes. Any sort of like Mexican flavor with a sweet potato is hella good, people. All right, so just like you make regular twice baked potatoes, instead of doing these in half, I'm only gonna slice off the top third or so that everybody gets a really hearty portion. This is also a recipe that you can adapt to your liking. If it's too spicy, you can switch out the cheese to just like a sharp cheddar or something like that, or you can kick it up more by adding in like some jalapeno and whatever other flavors you like. And we're just gonna scoop out all of the flesh and then mash it up and make a delicious mashed sweet potato. I'm also gonna go ahead and add in some butter here so that can be melting with the hot sweet potato. Okay, potatoes scooped out. So we have a little butter in there. I'm also going to add in a little of our bacon dripping because why not? And then a little bit of salt. Now I'm going to kick it up with some chipotle. So I'm gonna chop up one of these chipotle peppers and also add in a spoonful of the sauce. Sometimes these are like so spicy you can hardly eat any, and sometimes they're on the milder side, so I'm gonna start there. I also wanna add in a little maple syrup. I like the flavor of the maple with the chipotle. Add some green onion, save some for garnish, and then toss the rest inside. All right, I'm also adding in some sour cream. And then I'm also going to stir in half of our cheese and some bacon. That's how we're loading it up. All right, so now I'm going to spoon this mixture back into our sweet potatoes. Okay, telling you, y'all are going to love this. And now I'm just gonna top it with a little more cheese and then bake them again. All right, then we want it to get, a little bit crusty around the edges, and then of course just hot and bubbly all the way through. That's one of those sweet potato experiences that you can eat as is by itself, or alongside maybe a little cup of chili, or just every day for breakfast, whatever. Look at here. Look at that. Oh my God. I am so proud of these. I'm just so proud. Okay, I think this could be enjoyed just like this, maybe with a little sprinkle of onion. I'm gonna just decorate it just a little bit. The ultimate loaded, spicy, twice-baked sweet potato. I couldn't let the episode go by without a roasted sweet potato. So this is Amaretto-Infused roasted sweet potatoes with onions. Yum. Have you ever put amaretto with your sweet potatoes? I, for one, have not, but this is one of our top-rated sweet potato recipes, and I just 100% had to try it. This is the something different you're looking for to put on your table, but it makes so much sense. Okay, so I'm starting with some sweet potatoes. I'm just gonna peel and cube them. And this one's the perfect mix of sweet and savory. So we had a really sweet one, a really savory one, and then the combo. I like to give you a variety. It all just gets tossed and baked into one dish, so we like that. And then Vidalia onion. Recipe calls for 2 of these. I don't want to take away from the sweet potato, so that's why I added a little more sweet potato, and I'm going to do a little less onion. All right, then I'm just tossing it with some olive oil and the star of the show right here. I haven't had this in a minute. We might have to make a little cocktail with this. We haven't done that in a while. So it gets a 1/4 cup. And then some thyme. Recipe calls for dried thyme, but in case we just met, dried thyme is one of my least favorite herbs. If you've got fresh, let's go fresh. Okay, and then salt and pepper. Okay, then just toss it. You want to be sure everything is coated. Oh man, this smells so good. All right, then I'm gonna cover it. And this is gonna bake covered for about 30 minutes, and then we're gonna uncover it and let it finish and hopefully get some browning on there. So it's kind of like a 2-part. See you in half an hour. Well, I mean, if you had to buy amaretto, you might as well get a double use out of it. Just helping you out. A little amaretto sour, fresh lemon juice, amaretto, simple syrup, and a cherry. Doing the Lord's work here. It's a way to finish this up. God, that's good. I cannot wait to taste these. All right, and then to finish these off, because the amaretto is like an almond liqueur, we have some sliced toasted almonds. How good does that look? I've never had sweet potatoes like this before, and my guess is you haven't either. So let's see how they are. Those are really, really good. They're really soft cooking in that liquid, so you don't like get that like super crusty roasted taste. They're very tender, but then you get a little bit around the edges, but then the crunch from the almonds makes up for that. And they just absorb just enough of that amaretto to give it just like an elevated sweet potato taste. If your family normally just does like candied yams or something like that, this is the way to up that, because they're really tender, but these have about 10 times the amount of like depth and flavor. Really, really good. I'll be doing that again, and this again. We did it, we did it. Whether you want sweet, savory, or somewhere in between, I've got you covered. Surely, you have my guarantee that one of these recipes are sure to become your new favorite sweet potato recipe. I promise. Money back guarantee. Then you don't pay anything.